Hi Stampers, this is Eleanor McGarry, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and in this video I'll be showing you how to use the Pretty Flowers Embossing Folder. We'll be using sponge daubers and ink pads to add color to create this bright and vibrant card. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and emboss our white cardstock. This cardstock measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches wide, and we're going to go ahead and run that through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, and this is the image that you get. You can see the embossing folder. The Pretty Flowers Embossing Folder is now on that white cardstock, and we're going to color that. I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit. We're going to color that in using our 3 colors of ink. I've chosen Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, and Granny Apple Green, and we are going to color that in using our sponge daubers. Let's get going with our card. I'm using a circle tag that I made using the layering circles dies, and my greeting is the happy birthday from the Blossoms and Bloom stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and ink that up onto my circle tag using Pumpkin Pie ink. And then I took the splatter stamp from the Forever Fern stamp set, tapped it off first, and added a little bit of splatter onto my tag. I still felt it was quite stark white, and I wanted it to be a bit colored, so I added in some Pumpkin Pie ink using my sponge dauber just to the outer edges of the card. And then I took a smudge ink off of the dauber so I could add a lighter color to the center of the tag. Now we're ready to glue our embossed layer onto our card. I'm just using liquid glue here. And I'm going to glue that onto my base card, which is a pumpkin pie. And then I took another piece of pumpkin pie measuring 1/2 inch by 4 inches, and I'm going to glue that to the center of the card just to add an interesting design element. I break up the card into the top and the bottom. I wanted to add some ribbon, but I didn't have any pumpkin pie ribbon, so I just took basic white ribbon and used my pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend to add color to the white ribbon. Because of the alcohol ink, the color will bleed and go onto the other side as well, so you don't have to color both sides. You'll find that the color will bleed right through, and because it's alcohol ink, There are no stroke marks or brush strokes, and the ribbon looks perfectly blended. I'm going to do the same to the basic pearls. I'm using my pumpkin pie stamped blend to color 3 of the pearls in, 2 smaller ones and 1 larger one. And now I'm going to add the ribbon to my card. And again, I'm just using my liquid glue to do this. Just going to glue the 2 pieces of ribbon that I dyed earlier. You don't have to worry too much about what it looks like right now because we're going to have the circle tag on top of that anyway. And we're also going to trim the tops and bottoms to the desired length once the tag is added to the card. I'm going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals to my circle tag so that it's popped up on the card. And I put that right on to the center of the 2 ribbons that I glued on the bottom. And then I'm going to add my basic pearls that I had colored in earlier. I'm going to put 3 on the bottom underneath the Thinking of You. The larger one will be in the middle and the 2 smaller ones will be on either side. If you put things in groups of 3s, you create balance and the card looks much better. Last but not the least, you're going to add some linen thread, and I just tied it into a bow on the top of the circle tag there. And then you go ahead and cut the lengths of your ribbon to however long you would like them to be. And there you have your finished card. The next way we're going to use our embossing folder is with the ink pads. I've chosen Fresh Freesia, and what you want to do is you're going to ink up inside in between the embossing folder and ink up where the Stampin' Up logo is. You can see it's only on one side, so make sure you're inking up the right side. So just go ahead and apply your ink. Just press your ink pad onto your embossing folder, and then you're going to put your paper in the middle. Go ahead and close up your embossing folder, and then we're going to run it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine the way you normally would if you were just going to emboss the white, but this time we've inked it first. So let's go ahead and run that through, and you get a different look where the ink is already on your embossed image. So this is what you get right there. And I made a card, very simple. So this, because it's so beautiful already and it's the entire surface, you don't really need to do much to put it on your card. So all I did was layered it onto matching cardstock. This is Mango Melody, and I just did the greeting embossed in white on black cardstock. So obviously for this one I'm going to do this and put this on a Fresh Freesia card base. I have some other cards that I've made that I shall show you. Let me bring them all in. So, of course, we did this one just earlier with the sponge daubers. And I did one like it, but this time in green. So there it is in pumpkin pie. And again, this time in Granny Apple Green. Then I did this one here where the actual embossing, the same technique as we did with this one, where you put the embossing powder with the ink already inside, but this time I did it in green Old Olive. And then I use my sponge dauber to add pink in the middle to coordinate with the base card, which I used was Blushing Bride. And then again, the same thing I did with the ribbon and these little sequins here. That comes in the Artistically Inked Ephemera pack. Again, with the twine that I use to tie the ribbon together. And then I did this one. So in this one, I embossed the white cardstock, and then I glued it onto my base card, and then I did another layer on top that I popped up using Stampin' Dimensionals. And to do this layer, I basically just use white cardstock, but I used my rectangle stitch dies, which are here, to cut out the window opening. Oh, that I used a bigger one. So I cut that out. You can see. And then I popped that on top of the embossed white layer here. And then these flowers, those are all from the All Things Fabulous stamp set, which I love. I'll show you all of the cards again. So this one, oh, the colors I use, because somebody had asked at the last video I did, are Melon Mambo, and this is Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Sky. And of course the leaves is Granny Apple Green. So here are all the cards that I made using the Pretty Flowers Embossing Folder. This here. Now this, don't forget, the other thing I need to tell you is after you've inked inside, make sure you wash that right away. You don't want your embossing folder to stain. So here are all the cards that I made. You can make cards really fast with embossing folders because they create a design really fast that you can use as layers. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, the link to subscribe is on the right hand side, the red rectangle. Thanks for watching, everyone.